Uh, thank thank you for joining me today in our final session. My name is Giles Gondouin. So basically, we've been having what we consider one-on-one meetings throughout the program, and this is going to be considered our final meeting for this consider the program that we were in. So basically, let's go ahead. We're going to do a little bit of a recap of a refresher review on what we started with and what we worked with. So basically on June 14th, we continued what we consider the observation progress to address some of the challenges and stressors that were triggering some of the alcohol intake. And by coming up with some type of solutions, we came up with the interdisciplinary plan. And we kind of went over interdisciplinary where it's going to be utilizing two methods on solving a single problem. So with the interdisciplinary, we're going to try to come up with the position as far as relaxation. That's going to be considered meditation, yoga, inhale, breathing patterns. Similar, we consider stretching drills, stuff that's considered more of a meditation and relaxing field. The second method that we're going to be incorporating is going to be called a book reading, where you're going to go ahead and incorporate a book to read. And with the book, we want to go ahead and where you consider grab ideas from the book and utilize them in real life scenarios. This is going to help out a lot. Where you consider the being able to get the progress going. So with participating in alcohol, we have methods of going over the rules, regulation, skills. That could be one. What the rules are applied that you want to be 21 years and older. As you notice in the United States, that the alcohol, being able to get to a establishment and drink alcohol is kind of fairly easily, as long as you have the state ID and the proper casual clothing attire, they will allow you to purchase alcohol and intake it. I know some of the considered the common locations, grocery stores like Jewel Osco, Walgreens, they have also the ability to purchase alcohol, some like Whole Foods as well. And with the process being that you have to be 21 older with state ID to verify and confirm, and also being that you're going to be proper clothing. And as you kind of notice already from the experience you have in the United States, it's kind of fairly easy to be able to get and receive alcohol. As far as drinking alcohol when you're socializing or at a participated residential address, like a party at somebody's house or apartment, will still apply with the clothing and being the adult age of 21. You can participate in the alcohol intake beverages. I know sometimes with the graduate students who are 22 and older, they have more of consider the ability and access to participate in alcohol intake. With military programs, I know they apply the same rules as well, with the being 21 and older to participate in alcohol intake activities. Now, with that in mind, we want to kind of be able to be alert of our goal. And our goal is try to minimize or reduce the intake of alcohol. As you already know, if you tell somebody to go abstinent, which is 100% completely off of it, sometimes that's very challenging to do, which can lead to a relapse of intaking alcohol. But sometimes if you tell a person, like with the information that we go over, I'm gonna give you some ideas. And some of the ideas that you're gonna receive is not gonna completely make it go away, but it's gonna help to minimize, as in reduce the alcohol intake. That's kind of a more approachable or fairly easily try to put somebody in a low alcohol intake zone or none. Preferably in the position to keep the goal in mind is to reduce and minimize the alcohol intake. So with participating with alcohol, natural science has living, non-living, and study emotion probability. The human body is composed of cells throughout the body entirely. Whenever you eat or drink food or alcohol, the majority of the toxic gets stored in the body fat cells. The less body fat cells you have, the less room you have for storage for the toxic. That's going to be what we consider for the drugs and alcohol intake. So one of the ways to minimize the alcohol intakes is by having a positive mindset. Always stays positive. Always focus on positive working, research, focusing on your family, focusing on yourself, improving your career, improving your occupation. is always the best way as far as being able to progress your identity as far as your name, religion, date of birth, occupation, if you were in the military, branch of service or department, veteran status, education status as far as major, minor, sex status as far as male or female, and sex relationship style type as far as you being heterosexual, homosexual. Those identity information give you the your characteristic which applies to your identity. And if you intake the drugs and alcohol, what that does is going to get into your decision making process, and it's going to influence your behavior, which is going to be influence your actions from thoughts or your results from an idea. And alcohol and drugs have the ability to impair, which is uh, what I like to consider influence your behavior in a negative way. And some of the negative ways, if you are noticed, push you in a position of relaxation, where you would normally say things and do things and find some more social relaxing. However, communicating about enjoying alcohol can actually trigger you to intake alcohol and put you in a position of relapse. I know during my time period, they would tell people to substitute a beverage as far as alcohol for a soda pop. And sometimes socializing with the soda pop can have you in a position where it can be the same dopamine release, so you can have a good time. So for right now, we kind of went over some of the recaps with alcohol. I want you to go ahead and take a break, and when you take a break, I want you to come up with some questions. If you don't have any questions at all, just tell me that you're okay and we can move on. So just take about 30 seconds right now. Just take a break and come up with some questions. 30 seconds is about up. If you don't have any questions, please go ahead and tell me to continue. If you do, please let me know.
So is it true if you're a true alcoholic and go abstinent, you can die from that?
That's called rehab, where you in that status you would be considered a addict, where it is considered a substance abuse. And at that point, that position that you said passed away, it's related to more of the withdrawal. And that would be more for a chronic stage, which is kind of considered high priority, high severe. So for someone who's in that position, they would probably be intaking alcohol on a daily, which led them to in a position of rehab, which forced them to go into an intake patient, which might have led to that episode. But normally when you say pass away, it's kind of they use the information withdrawal. So I hope that kind of helps out. As well as like knowing the type of position as withdrawal being the negative effect or harmful effect that you're not feeling well, you're not feeling good, you want to feel as in a position as kind of low. So they kind of use that to communicate more about the passing away or feeling like you're about to pass away. It's kind of like a withdrawal symptom where you're not feeling that well. So with withdrawals too, which is a good question to come up, um, kind of leads into what you consider more of a drug intake. Now, as you already know, the inhale is in the United States kind of considered tobacco, and the dispensary, and dispensary has kind of cannabis. And sometimes tobacco and cannabis can have what you consider a addictive a feeling where you go into relapse, where you'd be taking it. However, like mentioned before, someone who's taking this and depending on a daily would probably be in a withdrawal syndrome if they were to complete gold the on former name cold turkey, which is removing every single alcohol and any type of tobacco or intake from the cannabis as well. Someone who's in a severe manner taking that in a daily will probably be in a position to be known to go into rehab, which kind of considered an intake patient where they would have more control. I know sometimes you usually have a commercial called Malibu where they would have a proper rehab private technique program for you to check in. But with the symptoms that we went over as far as the alcohol, we kind of went over some of the alcohols being beer, hard liquor like tequila, Jameson, wine. You may have it carbonated liquor with the Budweiser, Miller Lite. Those have alcohol. And the rule of thumb is you want to kind of do 1 hour for about 3 hours, and that's kind of the goal. And with that being in mind, it kind of puts you in a better position to be able to what I would consider come up with a program that way you have what you consider a proper method when you go into the establishment as far as like the bars and clubs that you have kind of a method or strategy that you utilize. And sometimes the method strategy that I would utilize is probably the 1 hour a beer or 1 hour drinking session to the 3 hours max. Um, as you already know, with the dispensaries, they allow it where you can purchase the products to be inhaled. However, it's kind of what consider a disadvantage as far as putting personnel in a position to be considered at risk. Some of the community personnel that we have, as far as the people who are allowed to go into the dispensaries, are going to be considered people who are in graduate programs, who are of age, people who are at a university, people who work at a health facility, people who are allowed to as well. Now, with this information in mind, we kind of want to have a proper goal. Sometimes, like we spoke before, going 100% completely off of it puts people in a position known as withdrawal, which puts them in a low mood setting. So instead of putting somebody in a withdrawal or 100% completely off it, sometimes you want to put them in a low status, as use the terminology reduce is the vocabulary, meaning to minimize the intake. So reduce and minimize are the same thing with the vocabulary. And in terminology, it's going to be two words or more. So reducing meaning minimizing the intake as far as the intake products that's being consumed. Now, with that being in mind, we had plans and strategies as far as going over the techniques as far as using meditations, relaxation techniques, and reading books as well, and using those books to your advantage during your lifestyle. Try to come up with some good ideas from the book that you can use to go about your daily business. So we have about 2 or 3 minutes left with the session. I want you to take about a good 30 seconds right now, just to take a quick break and come up with some questions that you have. If you don't have any questions, which is okay as well, just please let me know, continue. And then we should come back to the session. We should have about a few more minutes here. Go ahead and take your break right now if you need to. Break time's about done at this moment. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you don't have any questions, please just let me go ahead and continue.
In your opinion, those pills that they sell nowadays that are like technically make you sick in order to make you reduce the amount of alcohol content, do you recommend those? Do you think they actually work?
And
I've
just
just heard commercials on the radio about them.
Right, particularly for your situation, since this is psychology and it's private 101, I have your observation report. You don't need it. I have you actually consider it as a low risk or none risk. I don't have you as a high risk at all. There's nothing telling me right now, especially with the way you're communicating and responding to me, that you would consider it at risk. So for in your position status, no. If that's a good way to answer it, just because of the observation has been done, that I don't really have you in consider in a chronic, which is kind of in a high priority danger. I have you very all the way at the bottom, which is kind of like a low. So which is good for us. I enjoy the your behavior as far as having the low level energy displayed without the immediate risk. And I enjoy the questions as well as the follow up. It lets me know that you're paying attention and being alert. We have about 1 minute left in the session. With that being said, just I want to make sure you have my point of contact. That way, if you have any information at all, you can go ahead and get a hold of me in the future. Whenever you have any questions at all, if you can't get a hold of me, if you can't get a hold of anyone, just go ahead and write that question down, and that way you can get back into it as well, so you can go ahead and answer it. Try to utilize what helped you out, what does work, what stays positive, and try to stick with that. The stuff that didn't work out, try to see if maybe you can push that off the side, or try to find a way to make it work out. But at the end, try to use the information or the method that does incorporate with you being a positive mindset. Because the goal at the end is to be able to reduce and minimize the intake as far as the substance that's being utilized. So with that being said, this is our last session. I appreciate you coming here. And I'm gonna go say, have a great day, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Likewise.